People always say that you have to have money to make money, and that there's an extraordinary level of sacrifice on the road to success. So how is it that investors like us who didn't start out with much money and who don't rely on banks and credit, how is it that we can increase our income and build our wealth in a way that doesn't require us replacing one full-time job with another while still enjoying the things in life that matter most to us? That has always been the big question, and this podcast reveals the answers. I am Kari Like, and this is the Investor Warrior. Hey guys, and welcome to the Investor Warrior. Howie and Kari here. And we're coming at you on Thursday with our cup of coffee. It's coffee time for us.
I have the white one.
Do you have the wifey cup? Okay.
I have wifey.
So today we wanted to talk to you a little bit about life and business and entrepreneurship as a couple.
Yeah.
And today's going to be a little different because I'm going to be interviewing Howie. I never have interviewed you before. I've interviewed a lot of people.
Yeah. Whose idea was this?
What?
Whose idea was this?
Well, this was Howie's idea, of course. He's like, why have you never interviewed me? So we're going to interview Howie today. So I want to hear your story. Well, I already know your story, but you're going to share your story out with the world today, your journey
a little bit
with real estate. So what's your journey?
With real estate or with entrepreneurship?
Well, both.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I am fond of saying, I guess I'll start with this. I'm fond of saying that I haven't taken a W-2 paycheck from a company that wasn't my own or partly my own since 1994. So I don't even know how many years that is because I'm bad with math in my head, but how many years is that?
Four. A little less than 30 years.
A little less than 28 years.
Yeah.
28 years. Wow, that's crazy.
Yep.
I don't look that old.
You look so young.
Do I look that old? So I haven't taken a paycheck from a company that wasn't my own W-2 paycheck for almost 30 years.
Yeah.
And so I have lived the entrepreneur's lifestyle. I guess you could call me a serial entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. So I have always rejected the notion of living in the cubicle, I guess you'd call it, or just having a job where I would have to. What does that mean? What am I supposed to do?
No, look at the camera.
Oh, look at the camera. Oh, okay, good.
Not me.
Well, I was looking at you. So
I know I'm interviewing you. So
got it. I'll bounce back and forth. Boom, boom, boom. Got to watch my neck. So the whole notion of having a job, like a long-term job, where you go to work every single day and you do the same thing over and over again, was always a really painful notion for me. I remember even growing up as a teenager, it was stressful for me to think, wow, I'm going to go at the time I thought I was going to, do the college thing and go that route. You look at that and you think about wow, I'm going to get a job. And, and I wasn't, I'm not the super smartest person in the world, as you of all people know. I'm not academic. It's probably a better way to put it, right? I'm not academic. I wasn't going to become a doctor. I wasn't going to do that kind of stuff. And so, but I wanted to live a great lifestyle like everybody else. And the thought of just getting a job, being in an office every single day, or even doing something that was active, like, I grew up in the trades, right? In the construction trades. I certainly didn't want to do that every day of my life, going to work at 7:30 every morning, with my pants hanging down on my butt and just, living.
Why are your pants hanging down to your butt?
I just had a visual. I just had a visual. Oh my God. And then
is that what you think of as clocking in and out? That you have to have pants down to your butt?
No, I just had a bad visual. Like a plumber visual. Okay, sorry. Sorry to all the plumbers out there. I have mad love for you, especially since
God, you got that visual.
Especially since I depend on you guys day in and day out. So but you said something a second ago that triggered me, which was clocking in and out. Mm-hmm. Oh man, does that notion of clocking in and out sends chills down my spine. And it did as a kid. Mm-hmm. Like I looked at that and I felt like it was absolutely prison. I look at it like prison. I look at it like doing time. Mm-hmm. And in my if I fast forward a little bit and I look at some of the the work that I've had the privilege to do around around the world a little bit, and mostly around the country. I've spent a lot of time in corporations in my consulting work, and I've seen the time, like I've seen the clocking in and out time. And, especially with, I've had government agencies that I've worked for a long time, never worked with for a long time. and you really see it pronounced.
What's worse, working for the government or clocking in and out?
Oh, that's like a double whammy. That's like a double whammy.
As I said it, I was thinking, well, you do both.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Like, I think now at where I'm at now in my journey, I have much more of a negative connotation over the government thing. But at the time, in those years past,
different subject for a different day.
Totally different subject. You could just see, like, and I got to know people and beautiful people, right? Wonderful people, just a completely different perspective on life, right? But everything is about when I retire. And so, I mean, it felt like jail time. That's what it's always looked like to me. So, I just knew that no matter what I did, I wanted to be in business for myself. I think that's the best way you can put it. I think when I was younger, for so many years, I didn't have a distinction. I didn't have all the micro distinctions that are important about that I do now. I wish I did. I wish I did.
Growing and maturity to understand.
Yeah, but also mentors and education, right? So if I were mentoring one of our sons today, I would give them those micro distinctions right from the get-go, right? I didn't have anybody to give.
Well, but it's interesting because your mom was a business owner.
Yes.
Your mom. So you guys, his mom is just so amazing. So for 30 years, his mom by herself ran basically a halfway house.
You call it that? Yeah, it was a boarding home.
It was a boarding home for
psychiatric outpatients.
Yeah,
of the VA.
Right.
So basically, crazy soldiers.
These were vets. Yep. Most of them were vets, and it's so funny because a lot of them were clinically, psychologically not well.
Yeah, they were psychiatric outpatients.
Like severe mental illness and mental disease. Yes. And Howie used to go play like games with them after school, like board games. She called them the honey bunches. And like some of your good friends growing up when you were younger were these like mental.
Yep. I grew up with crazy people.
What was your favorite?
It's so funny. It's so funny. I don't think about this anymore.
I was like, your mom let you play board games with like.
I was there all. I was there all day long.
Some of them were violent.
Some of them had violent histories.
Right.
Yeah, violent histories. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you were basically hanging out with them all day.
Hanging out with them, yeah.
I'm like, was your mom okay?
Now that might answer some of the questions that you have about me. But they were wonderful, right?
Like, but that was her business for 30 years. She ran that business.
I mean, you talk about a superpower, right? My mom ran that business. She dealt with them. She dealt with their medication. She dealt with other problems. She dealt with everything. I mean, she was just amazing.
She dealt with the VA, a lot of the VA hospitals.
Oh yeah, well, they were all out of the VA, so she dealt with all the bureaucracy and all of that kind of stuff.
So you were in an entrepreneurship home, entrepreneurial home.
Correct. And my dad was a contractor, small-time contractor. He did remodeling, so that was my model. That was definitely
which is interesting because my model was totally opposite. I had parents who retired, did the very traditional work for a corporation until retirement age, and then retired. And then I went to college and joined the corporate world before I met you.
Right.
And started
because that was your model.
That was my model.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And your dad got the gold watch.
Right? Yeah.
40 years at Raytheon.
Something like that. Yeah.
He's the last
amount of time.
He's the last of the Mohicans with the pensions and stuff like that. Like totally the last of the Mohicans on that whole thing. So so Kari and I have completely diabolically opposite backgrounds in that whole thing. So So
and I remember I struggled a lot when we started the business because it just wasn't my model of the world. I really, really struggled emotionally around my time and what I was doing with my time and how the uncertainty and
wait,
the business.
Wait, you act like that's past tense. Is that fully past tense?
Well, it's not. I mean, not fully. It's always it's always good to have a slight fear.
That's true.
Yeah. So anyways.
Uncertainty? I'm going to turn this interview around on you.
No. We're interviewing you.
Okay,
so anyways.
Okay. So.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's okay. That's what it's all about. It's a conversation, right? So where do you want to go with it from there? So that's how I get started. That's my mental framework going into the world.
Let's talk about real estate. So when I met you, you had already been in real estate. You had gotten out and you were kind of, what were you doing when we met? You were kind of
You thought I was a drug dealer. You thought I was a drug dealer. You thought I was with like the mafia or something.
Oh my God, I did, because I didn't know what you did, and I didn't know how you were like
And I wouldn't tell you what I did.
surviving, and like I would be working all day, and you would be on your bike riding your
My
bike,
bike?
your bicycle, not your bike.
Bicycle.
Yeah, you would bicycle to the gym,
No, I
work
ran to the
out, and
gym.
bicycle home.
I didn't even
You had
own a bicycle when
didn't
you-
you? Yes, maybe you
I
borrowed
rode
mine.
motorcycles.
And I was like, what does this guy do for a living?
Yeah,
Because
11 o'clock in the morning, I'm running to the
he's
gym.
able to
Yeah.
support himself, but he doesn't seem like he's working much. Yeah.
Right.
And it was
right,
all very
right.
secretive what you did.
Well, that was all intentional too.
So,
Great.
anyways.
Different, completely different, completely
So
different.
yeah,
topic.
maybe I did
yeah.
think you were a drug dealer.
Yeah. But you liked it. You were excited.
Not about you being a drug dealer.
But you were curious.
But after I found out
Curious.
you were a business owner, I
Curious.
was like, oh, that all makes sense.
Curious. So yeah. So
So anyway,
What's the question?
so how did you get into real estate the first time?
the way I got into real estate the first time is I think you have to kind of go back a little bit. And I got into, I'll fast forward through some things, but I got into the IT business very, very early. I was very, very fortunate, blessed, with an immense amount of gratitude. It's funny, I've been doing my Tony Robbins priming lately, and I have such a hard time remembering all these things I need to be grateful about. Isn't it hard? Isn't it ridiculous that we have all of these things, that all these blessings? Maybe you're good at it, but I'm so focusing on what's going on right now. It's hard for me to remember all of these things, but I mean, that's a great one to remember for tomorrow, which is just, I mean, by absolute dumb luck, and I mean dumb luck, that's emphasis on the dumb. I fell into the IT business with no education. I had been kicked out of college. I was lost in every way imaginable. And I got this opportunity to work in the IT field and start from the bottom up.
I gotta go back because we just met with a couple who we did a transaction with. They were sellers. And we met them out for lunch the other day, and you were telling him all about your journey with the IT business. Yeah. And I told them that you had gotten kicked out of college, and you were like, well, what did the letter say that the college gave you? You were like, well, I didn't get kicked out, but they dismissed me.
Due to academic non-performance, we regret to inform you. You know, that's like, you don't even flunk. You just haven't done anything.
So you didn't get kicked out. You just didn't do anything, and they didn't.
I just didn't do
move
anything.
You
yeah,
forward.
I played football. I played football. That's what I thought I was there for. And party. Yes. I had a great time.
For a semester.
Well, you remember, well, 2. So you remember, well, no, year and a half. So 1 year and 1 semester. So you weren't there at the presentation that I gave at the Power Players a couple months ago. And you know how Greg talks about, we have a real estate coach who's just done some amazing stuff, has an amazing story of his own. And he has he's a great storyteller, and he tells about how when he went to college in the Northwest, you know, he's super academic, and he's a really, really bright guy, really, really smart guy. And he loved all that academic stuff. And he tells this story of him and a friend racing across campus to try to get into this class. And they had to get in this class. There were dire consequences if they didn't get in this class. And it was super strict. If those doors closed, they didn't get in. And there was going to be, tests they were taking. There was going to be a real problem for whatever the problem was for. And so
Did you not relate to that
Well,
story?
no, as I was presenting to everybody, I was telling them my background, and I got much more into the delinquent side of my life.
Yeah.
And I was saying, you know, Greg, and everybody can relate, right? So because they know Greg. So I was like, you know, Greg tells wonderful stories, you know, like paper chase across the campus, running across the campus to get to this classroom before the door closed. I said, the only thing that I have that relates to that is I'm running across the campus and the campus police are chasing me, right? That was my college life. You missed that one. You weren't there, yeah. 3 semesters. 3 semesters. 3. You had 2 seasons, 3 semesters.
They let you go that long?
Yes. Yes. Another story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so anyways, we digress.
Sort of. So after I'm wandering, after I'm sort of lost in this situation that I've gotten myself into, I literally, again, the dumb luck I felt so I won't go all the details because we'll never get through this podcast, or the show. So I end up entry-level position in the IT business, and I went to work for a corporation.
Right.
It is the first, well, I shouldn't say that, but for all intents and purposes, as an adult, it is the first corporation that I ever went to work for. It was in startup mode when I went to work for them. They were eventually a Fortune 500 company. maybe even a Fortune 100 company. And I was there through all the hyper growth in the beginning. And so I was so blessed to have had this opportunity and to have experienced all the acceleration of a large corporation. And I call it my corporate upbringing. So I know a lot about corporations and how they work, not only for two reasons. One is because I had my corporate upbringing for about 6 years at this company, right? That I got trained in the IT profession over. And then I went off later and did consulting work for years for other companies. And so I got to see how their corporate structures work. And I've been doing that for a long, long time, right? So
how did that get you started in real estate? Well, the original question was, how did you get started in real estate?
So this is part, okay. And that, so that's how I got started. So I'm in IT.
Right.
So I'm in IT. And in 1994, I decided, because I didn't want to, I've been there 6 years and I'm like, I didn't clock in. I mean, I had a white collar job, a salary job. I wasn't clocking in and clocking out, but I always wanted to have my own business. That I knew that if I ever wanted to have the things that I wanted to have in my life, you know, if I ever wanted to fly in a private jet or, you know, whatever it is that you can make up that is, you know, extraordinary, that I needed to own my own business. Like that was the route. And I was impatient. I wasn't going to sit there and invest in the market for the next 30 years. I wanted to I want it now. So I took the first opportunity I could. I started a consulting company even before I left, and then that launched me into the consulting world. And that's when I went into the world of entrepreneurship as a professional, as a professional in my, in my adulthood. And I did that for a number of years. And that was 1994. In 1998, so only four to 5 years later, I raised with my business partner $10 million of venture financing. So this is the story of entrepreneurship, and it's not easy to do in any market. It's not easy to do in normal markets. And so it was a really big win, and we grew our company, 126 employees. I remember these numbers very well, 4 offices around the country. And it was amazing. It was amazing for about 2.5 years. And then the market crashed, the technology market crashed. So this is the dot-com crash of 2000. And which led up to the World Trade Center. What didn't lead up to, but it was all these things that were happening at once at that time in the world. And so then you had the equity markets completely dried up, and we were not able to continue the funding course that we were on to continue to grow the company. In fact, we were deficit cash flow, and we had to break the company apart. So that was an experience. I mean, it was painful, but it was a tremendous learning experience, right? And I kept on with the consulting world, but it taught me a lot. And so at that point, my ex-wife, my now ex-wife, so Adrian's mom, my 18-year-old son's mother, she was a infomercial junkie, which I like to say. So she would stay up late at night and she would watch infomercials, and there was always shit showing up at that house, the latest ab workouter thing and all this kind of stuff. Have I ever told you this story?
No,
I don't know if I've ever told you this.
Do you remember when they came out with that thing that you could put on your abs to stimulate the muscles so you could get a six-pack without working out?
I think she ordered
and
one.
Did you? I remember I was dating my high school sweetheart at the time, and he bought one of those thinking I don't have to work out. I'll just strap that on. And he would eat a bag of chips while he had it on. And I'm I don't think that's, this is like snake oil.
So this is funny. So this is all kind of going on the tail end of this dismantling of our company and me trying to figure out what the heck we're going to do with all this situation.
I'm curious about how this works itself into the story.
So
the infomercial crap coming onto your doorstep.
The infomercial package that showed up was a real estate course that she bought.
Okay.
Russ Whitney. So you've heard of Russ Whitney. Yeah. So because you know the Ron story. Yeah. So Russ Whitney was a little bit like the Rich Dad stuff today. So if any of you are familiar with Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad company, they do seminars and education for.
He's still around. He just invests now. I don't think he coaches anymore.
Well, he wasn't really coaching with Rich Dad anyway. He just invested.
No, he had his own coaching program, Russ Whitney.
Oh, no. Oh, you're talking about Russ.
Yeah, Russ Whitney is still around investing.
Yeah.
He was in a few clubhouses that I was
He has his own crazy journey. He has his own crazy journey that happened during the crash.
He came into the clubhouse rooms.
Yeah. his crazy. So this is early 2000s.
Mhm.
Now he has his crazy journey, as a lot of people did when 2008 hit and,
Right.
and everything came apart at the seams. He has
Right.
a pretty crazy journey and story to tell. But this is long before that. This is when he was really, building his business and riding high. And he did infomercials, just like Tony Robbins did infomercials, right? You do the thing, and she bought his package, and she didn't do anything with it. But I looked at it and I started reading the stuff and watching the videos or whatever it is. I don't even remember exactly what the media was. It might have been CDs that you put in your car. Or maybe back then it was tapes you put in your car, right? And you listen.
You're so young.
I know. And you listen to Young But Sexy. I listened to all this and I got really excited. And I'm like, this is really cool to me. Like, I would love to do this. And I'm thinking to myself, one of my problems is that all I do is consulting, IT consulting. And it's, other than building a company, and if you're a fan of Robert Kiyosaki, you know that owning a business is an asset. So, and I had just tried that and that had fallen apart. And, I was going to do that again. But at the same time, I felt like I needed to be diversified. Like, okay, well, I'm doing that. And I should also learn this real estate stuff. And so that's the long story as to how I got into real estate. And here's what happened. I liked real estate. And I guess I was a little, I think I was feeling a lot of emotional pain around everything that had gone on. And I also didn't want to travel anymore. That was the other thing. You know my story about how I'm just tied to travel in my life. Right. And so I had been on the road for so long, flying to cities and countries and all this kind of stuff. I didn't want to travel anymore. I wanted to be home. And I thought real estate was the answer. So I got really into real estate. And now you're in the early 2000s. Now you're in 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005. And that's when real estate was just going through the roof. That's when, you could get a loan if you could fog a mirror. And it was exciting. It was all crazy. And so I literally actually sold my consulting practice to one of my junior partners at the time and went all in on real estate. That's how I got there.
Okay. So where are you at today?
You want to fast forward, huh?
Well, so then you bought a multifamily unit, which was kind of a crazy story down in West Palm. You bought that, and a storm came through, and there was lots of crazy stories with that property.
Yeah. I mean,
and then you sold it.
Okay, thank you.
Let me tell your story.
Yeah, you tell it. You tell it.
And then how he did this, and then he did that. I'm interviewing you, so where do you want to go from there?
I think I'll fast forward a little bit.
Yeah, when I met you weren't doing any real estate.
No, I wasn't doing any real estate. So
why was that?
So I went into
why weren't you doing real estate?
I went into what Tony Robbins calls.
Why were you selling drugs?
Where were you at midnight on the night of the 11th?
Why were you generating cash and I didn't know what you were doing with work? What's the real story here?
Okay, so during those years, I got all into real estate. I even got my contractor's license in California, Arizona, believe it or not, and in Florida, and what we were working on it in Arizona, I should say, and we had projects going on everywhere. So I was all in. It was going crazy. We were having a good time. I bought the 38 units or 37 units.
You had 3 contracting license.
I was part of 3 contracts with partners. You
didn't even like to hang pictures in our house today.
Well,
if I can get you to hang a picture in the house, it's a miracle.
Guys, here's a huge micro distinction. It's called leadership. Okay.
But sometimes I can't find someone to hang a picture.
But you're taking up now you're taking me down a dog leg, but we'll come back, right?
I'm kidding. I know.
So do you make money hanging the picture,
I don't want you hanging my pictures.
or do you make money hiring someone else to hang the picture? Okay.
Sometimes you do pick up the hammer and you hang something.
Yeah. So you're talking about you're talking
find
about
a handyman to come and hang one picture.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. So so all this stuff going on, right? We were working on the contractor's license in Arizona, and that didn't ever finish. We got it in. We did get our contractor's license in Florida, and I had partners in these different. There was a lot of partnership stuff going on there, including the contractor's licenses. There was partnerships going on there. You do this part, I'll do that part. You do the test, blah 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 blah. It was the Wild West, and it was a lot of acceleration. It was a great time. You're right. I bought the apartments. It was low income apartments, 38 units in West Palm Beach, and that was a crazy story. That got almost half destroyed by Hurricane Irma, Francis, and Jean. So all came one right after the other in 2004. The historic 3 hurricanes.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, because Charlie was the 4th.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I ask me why I remember them, and I can't
I
even
don't
remember
remember.
what
I was
ate
in
this
college and
morning.
was excited that we didn't have classes.
Ask
every
me
time
why
a
I remember.
hurricane
Ask
came
me why I
through.
remember the names of those 3 hurricanes, and I don't even can't even tell
Okay.
you what I. It's because they destroyed
probably
my
right.
property. They
Yes.
came one right after the other, right after the other, and so anyway, long story short. So I went the gamut, but the real issues
Uh-huh.
was that my personal life wasn't going well.
Mhm.
So my marriage wasn't going well,
Mhm.
and there was a lot of friction going on there. I'll put it that way. And so I kind of had the trifecta, right?
Mhm.
2008 hit, real estate. 2008, 2009, real estate hit the fan.
Right.
I was in a divorce situation, and more than that, I was now raising my son,
Right.
who's now 18 years old. But he was when I started raising him by myself, he was only 1.5. And
Mhm.
so I raised him for a number of years by myself and was a single dad. And I just, everything kind of came together and just coalesced over time and hit me at once.
Mhm.
And so I got out of real estate because things weren't
Okay.
going well, and I just couldn't manage things. So
Yeah.
I was lucky though. I didn't get stuck with like defaults and things like that. I was out
Right.
by that. By the time things really got bad, I was out.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
but that's why I didn't stay in.
Yeah.
Or get back in or whatever for a little while.
Okay.
Yeah. So then I meet you.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2010, I meet the great Kari. You weren't like yet.
I was a ROM still.
So we climbed Mount Kilimanjaro.
Which is interesting because ROM is still on some of like our
Old stuff.
Still, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. So we climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. We fall in love, and we decided to start our life together.
Mm-hmm.
And Kari, Mrs. Excited, like you weren't excited.
Well, you guys have all heard my story.
Yeah, you've heard her story.
Yeah.
But the recap, it's okay to repeat it
Mhm.
because this is a turning point.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll probably tell this story 1,000 times, right? This is a turning point. Kari came to me and said, in all enthusiasm and all just loving enthusiasm with all of the energy, that wonderful energy that I love so much about her. And she was like, we were starting our life together, and she was like, man, if we have kids, I would love to take them to like Europe for 2 months in the summer and, and do all these fantastic, great things. And I smiled and I said, well, that's great. I love that vision. I love that dream, but your job ain't going to get you there. Right. And this is before we were married too. And so, it was funny. I remember this conversation really well. It's one of those things that sticks out in my head. It's a marker of history in our journey. I remember her looking at me kind of perplexed because, as we talked about a little while ago, she was coming from a completely different model than I was, right? Her model was the whole go to school, get a good education, get a good job, and that's it, right? And so like you could almost see the smoke coming out of her ears when we were having this conversation. And I remember her saying like, well, what do we do? What do we do? And I said, well, we talked about the asset classes, right? There's market trading, there's owning a business as the major asset classes, right? And there's cash, and then there's real estate. And I said, I like real estate. I know real estate. Like I have experience in real estate. I know it. I think I got out of it, but not because there was anything wrong with real estate. There was just something wrong with me. So I'd like to get back into it. And this is
it's not you, it's me.
No, because a lot of times this is really important too, because I remember when things were going bad, I would have people say like, well, you should have never got into real estate. Like maybe real estate was, that was a stupid thing to do. And like there was something wrong with real estate. Right. When there's nothing wrong with real estate. There's just things wrong with the decisions that we make in life. Right.
Sure.
And that's what it was all about. And that was really my point to Kari at that moment, which was there was nothing wrong with real estate. I like real estate. Real estate's great. It was just me. So, now we're in a completely different place. We have a completely different opportunity, and that is what we should do. And so my next piece of advice was, let's get educated, because it's been a few years for me. I've gone through so much turmoil in my life that I almost had this learned helplessness thing going on that like Tony Robbins talks about. Like I need to get my brain clear. I kind of need to get re-educated and all of that kind of stuff. Plus it's funny. I learned how to buy property with no money down. And all the kind of stuff that
Russ Whitney was teaching you.
That Russ Whitney was teaching you, and that we did, you and I, with you at the helm, for the last dozen years,
Mhm.
but that's not what I was doing in the 2000s because real estate was, it's like almost like right now. It's funny. It's like right now, real estate was going so crazy
Right.
that, and you could fog a mirror and get a loan. And so you didn't have to work that hard.
Yeah.
You didn't have to go, you didn't have to send a million letters, and, you could get a loan for 95% on a $100,000 house, and maybe $100,000 house now is 120, it's 220 or something like that, right?
Mhm.
Like on a $100,000 house, you didn't really have to come up with that much capital, or maybe even
Right.
100% loan or a 98% loan. So kind of cheating, right? I was doing a lot of things that were kind of cheating when it comes to the way that we teach real estate acquisition today, right?
Sure.
Okay,
Mhm.
so I knew that. Like, I knew that I never really did it the right way. And
Mm-hmm.
so I told Kari, let's get educated. And we did the rich dad thing, and we've told that story, so we don't have to go into that. So we did the rich dad thing. And, and many of you that are listeners and big fans of Kari, you'll know that, the rest is kind of history, right? So Kari Buys Houses is born, and we started a new lifestyle. And I continue on working in IT, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I help support all the stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
And Kari's at the helm with the real estate business, and we're supporting each other, and we became an entrepreneurial couple.
Right.
And that is the story.
So you're doing this 75-day hard.
Yeah.
For business. So we had a episode on 75-day hard and what it is. It's Andy Frisella's 75-day hard, which is, just do a recap really quick. It's 10. Well,
I don't even think I need to. It's so popular. I think everybody knows what it is,
so
right? Yeah.
Even people who don't listen to Andy Frisella's podcast, which is the Real AF podcast show.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people do know about 75-day hard. It's just become like this phenomena that
Everybody
started.
knows.
And honestly, it was one day.
I think people know about 75 hard and don't have a clue who Andy Frisella is.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, I know.
He's gotten to that. He's written a book
point.
about it. And it all started like one day when one of his co-hosts started asking him what he was doing differently, because he noticed that he was working out more and he had more energy. And I remember listening to the podcast. He was like, oh, well, I'm doing this thing. It's for 75 days and here's what I'm doing. And then it turned into 75-day hard, which is you do 2 workouts a day,
right,
for 45 minutes each. One is an indoor workout. One's an outdoor workout. You drink a gallon of water. You read 10 pages of a nonfiction book. And what is the last one?
10 pages, nonfiction book, the 2 workouts a day, the gallon of water.
You do your progress pick.
Yeah,
you do a progress
pick. Gallon
picture
of water. Yeah,
and a gallon of water.
Progress pick.
Yeah. So
for 75 days straight.
And it teaches you discipline.
No weekends.
It teaches you how to discipline, how to block your time. It teaches you a lot of things. Plus, you get healthy, you get energetic, you become,
Right.
So Howie the other day decided to come up with a 75-day hard business plan. And I asked him, what does that mean? And he said, well, for 75 days, this is what I'm going to do. And he had this checklist of all the different things that he was going to do. Like talk to a seller every day. I don't know what they are. You do.
But let's talk for a second as to why, because we really jumped ahead.
Yeah.
Why am I doing the 75-day hard? What's going on in our life?
Well, okay,
that has prompted me to go, hey, I think I'm going to 75-day hard myself. With this 75-day hard myself with this business context. Because, by the way, I'm going to say this: I've done 75-day hard. So has Kari. Yes. I've done 75-day hard, and I completed it. You've completed it, and so super familiar with it. I've given a lot of people have come to me because I did it actually when Andy first came out with it, and then you did it shortly after. And that was 2019, and so since then it's gotten more and more popular. I've kept in touch with people. A lot of people have asked me for advice during it because you do go through a lot of different stages in the whole thing. So I'm completely familiar with 75 hard. I've done it, like the real one. Okay. So why? You should be asking me why.
So
why, Howie?
We've been doing this for over 10 years, real estate investing together.
Yeah.
How do you feel about our accomplishments so far?
So it's a mixed bag, right?
Yeah.
It's a mixed bag. I think that for a dozen years, we have led a very free lifestyle. So I think that, when we talk about this lifestyle, we don't clock in and clock out.
Yeah.
If we decide
the clock is running all the time.
Well, that's funny. The clock's running all the time. Right. That's a different perspective to it.
Sure.
But we do live a life of relative freedom.
Yes.
Right. If we need a day to go do this, we don't have anybody to ask, and all that kind of stuff. I think that we have had a tremendous amount of I think ebbs and flows is the right way to put it. So there was the years, I'm going to call them the teen years, right? Because we started this 2011-ish, 10, 11, really got going after that. And the teen years, right? So the teen years, there was a tremendous amount of acceleration. You know, we had the business. I mean, I'm sorry, we had the office. We had a few employees. Like we were really doing that. But I think that at the time, we also felt that we were killing ourselves, right? And so, and I was also really also full-time with the consulting business still. And so
you were traveling
I was traveling a lot. And then you were, you were really full-time with the business and, now you're balancing the kids. Right. And so, I do want to stop and talk about that because I can't do that.
No, I think it's cutting.
Oh, sorry. I think that there is this question of having it all. Right. And we have experienced this, right? We have gone with the ups and downs of, and I'll rattle it off, right? Career, right? Education, family priorities, kid priorities, time, money, magic, all of these things, right? We all want it all, right? The business ownership. So there's the career versus the business ownership, or in our case, business operation, right? All of these things that we all strive, many of us entrepreneurs strive to do it all, right? I want it all. I want it now. So like we've done this, right? We have done this for over a decade. And I think that we've learned some lessons, right? And so I think that one of the lessons that we've learned, at least for us, right? Because everybody's different. Yeah. But I think for us that we've learned is that there are some prices that get paid when you want it all. There's only 24 hours in a day. There's only 7 days in a week. We all know the numbers, right? And at some point, if you don't break the glass ceiling, okay, and you don't get into real business ownership, okay, and this is where the distinction comes in that I talked about really early when we first started this interview. If you don't understand the distinction between your business owning your own business or your business owning you. Another way to put it is, are you an operator or are you an owner, right? And we're business operators. And I think that that's where we really ran into it, because we were trying to grow and grow and grow the business. Now, I don't want this to be confused with the acquisition and disposition of property. Like that was all great, right? We did, 200 acquisitions. Fantastic. We were profitable. We never lost money. We broke even on a couple, but we're doing that many, like that's pretty good, right? All fantastic. Like this is all bam, 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 bam. And if you isolate that, right, and you say, as a real estate investor, how did you do? Well, great. But we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about the larger dynamic, the stepping back from that and getting back to 30,000 foot and looking at all the slices of life. And that was the business operation. So that slice of life. But then there's the growing the business, reinvesting in the business, trying to get to a new level. Can we become owners and not operators, where we're not the ones that are actually doing 200 actions, right? The day in. Oh, now we have kids. Oh, now our family's growing. Oh, now we have a house that's falling apart. because it's the cobbler's kids, right?
Kids and dogs will do that.
Yeah, kids and dogs. Well, and it's also the cobbler's kids, right? The cobbler's kids have no shoes.
Because we're too busy to.
Because we got 5 contractors out in 5 different directions, but they're not here.
Yeah. we still have a leak in our bathtub 3 months later.
There's a hole in our ceiling right now. So
it's true. We do have a hole in our ceiling. It's been there for a while.
Yeah. So distinctions, right? Understanding these distinctions, and I think also here's the kicker. This takes a toll on the boy-girl relationships. This takes a huge toll on boy-girl relationships. And I know it has with us. It can. Yeah. And I know it has with us. And then we know, without divulging anything inappropriate, we have other entrepreneur friends and colleagues and stuff like that. And we know they struggle too. Yeah. We know they struggle with a lot of the same things. And so one of the things that we recognized was the hunter-gatherer a split concept. Yeah, that's great. That's a great way to put it. The hunter-gatherer model, the feminine energy and the masculine energy, and the roles that we have historically played in the evolution of time and the evolution of mankind, right? Over the tens and tens and tens of thousands of years that humans have been banging away at it here, on this earth, right?
Mhm.
And what happens is the trap that couples fall into, especially with these super, super bright, ambitious young ladies, women like yourself, who are just going for it, right? And are just fantastic at what they do. And then the husbands come into the business, you do get depolarized. You have the depolarization that takes place.
You can.
I'm sorry. You can. Yeah, you can have a depolarization that takes place, because now what's happened is you have two masculine energies that are going at it. And we're talking about energies. This doesn't have anything to do with necessarily sex. This doesn't have anything to do with like sexuality or sexual orientation.
Sure. It's
two different things.
The male, female
this is
energy
energies, right?
The world.
This is absolute
nature.
Yeah, this is absolute energies, right? And that's where nature, that's where the sort of the human nature takes hold.
The evolution of human beings.
You can't fight it. You can't fight it. And so, you have to find ways as a couple. We found that we have to find ways to counter that, right? The male energy, I'll say the male energy to be accurate.
Yeah.
Is the male energy needs to hunt. The female energy needs their partner to hunt. And that doesn't mean that the female energy is not doing anything. They play a huge role. They do a little hunting themselves. They do some gathering. They play huge roles in this whole thing. But when the roles get mixed, you got some challenges.
So give some examples of what you're talking about when it comes to hunting.
I think that I'll put it in this context, and you can tell me if you agree with this or not.
Okay.
If the female energy feels the burden to have to hunt and kill to put food on the table, they are going to go into an extreme masculine energy mode at that point.
Okay.
It's right. And
well, I'll explain, and then I can give you my personal.
If the male is also continuing to be a hunter, now you got two male energies, and those can clash, right? Not only that, but why don't you tell me what's present for you and what I just said?
Well, so I remember going to a Tony Robbins event. I think it was Date with Destiny, and he has a whole day dedicated to relationships.
Right, whole day.
And he talks all day about male, female energy, why relationships run into trouble. A lot of times it's because the male, female energy gets reversed. Couples get depolarized. Women start stepping into a masculine role, and now you've got two masculine energies that are working together. Or even worse, the woman steps into a masculine role, the man then steps into a feminine role, and now you don't respect each other, or there's a lot of friction there. Right. And so it was a 16-hour day on all of this. And
well, we did a whole week relationship.
Well, we did, but that's true. Yeah. We went to Hawaii and did a whole week on relationships. That's right. Yeah. But I think it was at Date with Destiny that I realized, and he talked a lot about women in business, and that this can happen a lot with women in business, is that women feel that they need to be masculine in order to get ahead in the business world. Or they just kind of fall into this masculine role because they go into business and it just kind of naturally happens. And, this whole notion that women need to step into a masculine role to get ahead is absolutely absurd. In fact, and it's because you, as a woman, you are fighting your very core, your very nature by doing that. You are fighting something that can't be fought at that point, and you're becoming someone who you are not naturally.
Now you use the word female.
Female energy.
But I want to train. If your core energy is feminine.
Sure. Yes.
It's the same thing. Doesn't matter what body. Doesn't matter what body parts you have.
Yes. Again, we're talking about energy.
If your core energy is feminine.
We're talking about energy, not gender, sexual orientation. We're talking about energy.
Yep.
And so, so I was born female. I grew up with a female energy to me. When you met me, I had a lot of female energy to me. And what I realized in the Date with Destiny is that he went through these different colors. Do you remember the colors? I can't remember what they were for, like personality, maybe. You got red, the personalities that you fall into. Greens, and what I realized is when I met you, I was a certain color. I can't remember what color it was. Maybe it was purple. And in that purple,
intuitive. Yeah.
Okay, in that purple energy, it's very feminine, intuitive. I can't remember all the things that purple stood for, but I remember thinking to myself, oh, that's interesting, because I think when you and I met, I was purple. But as I became a business owner who was out there hunting all the time, and when I mean hunting, I was out there negotiating deals, meeting with sellers, looking at houses. I was on the hunt all the time.
Can I give a distinction about entrepreneurs and hunting?
Yeah.
Look, you are not a true entrepreneur if you are in a life situation where if you do not kill, you do not eat.
Yeah.
We only eat what we kill. Since 1994, I've only eaten what I kill. It is a primal.
Survival.
We have a primal instinct around it, but we also have primal reactions to that when we're out there. So if in our world we only eat what we kill, which is true,
right?
And you feel the burden for that, how does that feel? I want to say, how does that feel to you?
Well, it doesn't feel great. Feels like a lot of pressure because at the same time, you know, I was taking care of the kids, and I'm not saying that if it was only up to me to kill, but in my head, I all of a sudden stepped into this perception that I've got to go hunt. I've got to go hunt. I've got to go hunt. I've got to get the next deal. I've got to get the next deal. And at the same time, I was raising the kids, and I was trying to balance it all, and I was integrating it all. And I realized at that Date with Destiny event that I had gone to another color, becoming a business owner. I think I went to orange, which is very entrepreneurial, but it can also be very masculine.
If you let it.
And you can be entrepreneurial in any of these colors. Sure. It's just that orange seemed very entrepreneurial to me.
Yep.
It very masculine.
It's a personality type is what
it's a personality type. And I realized that I had switched colors as I became a business owner. And what I also realized during this event was he was right. I had kind of adopted this masculine energy. And I don't know when that happened. I don't know if it's because I was in a world of mostly men. I mean, when I started
you've always talked about that.
When I started the coaching program, there weren't very many women in the coaching program when I was a student. Right. A lot of my colleagues were males. And so I just kind of fell into this masculine energy. And I think it caused a lot of friction between you and I, because it did become depolarized, because I was now in this masculine energy. You're in this masculine energy, and it's like you got two masculine energies fighting each other.
Absolutely.
And truly, I mean, women do best when they can step into their feminine role in business. And I think we have a really close friend of ours, Cindy Watson, who teaches women
the art of feminine negotiation. Look it up.
She used to be a lawyer, an attorney, and in a very male-dominated industry niche of law. And so she has this program now for women. And yes, it's the art of feminine.
And Cindy's amazing.
She is. She's amazing.
Yeah. Look her up.
And she basically teaches women how to use their feminine energy, step into their feminine energy to become the most successful businesswoman that they can become, because you will be more successful by getting back to that core nature of who you are. And so that's what I realized during that event. Yeah. And so, yes, I think in our relationship, we have had that friction between the energies because we've gotten depolarized.
Yeah.
And I think just honestly, until recently, like we talked a lot about this, like our roles in our relationship, when it comes to raising our kids, when it comes to the roles in our business, like we're starting to become much more defined in our roles, because now you're becoming a much bigger part of the real estate business.
Right.
And so we're really clarifying what it is that we want to be.
Let's talk about that, because that kind of now bridges us to what we're doing now.
Yeah.
Right. And what's going on.
Yeah. So
what are we doing now? Okay.
First of all, I have an important question for you.
Yes, sir.
I want to know.
Yes, ma'am.
So the other night, you got up in the middle of the night.
Yes.
And you said, I have to write something. I was like half asleep when you got up and you said, I have to write something down. It was like 3:00 in the morning. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. And you said, I have to write something down. And you left, and then
I think it was like 1 or 2, but
okay. Well, it was in the middle of the night. And then you got back into the bed and went to sleep. I want to know what keeps you up at night.
What keeps me
What
up
was
at
it? Why did you wake up to write something down?
Well, we're on a new mission.
What was it that kept you up at night that night?
So we're on a new mission. And I think that this is, it's a great segue into where we've been, because Kari and I made a decision that, and it has a lot to do with everything that we just talked about. We've made a decision that I am going to step into running the real estate firm, right? Part of the business. Where in the past, I was doing my thing with consulting. She was doing real estate. And I was helping support the business, and I support a lot of the technology, and and I do real estate stuff.
I would say you were in the. I was in the forefront. You were in
support role.
The support role.
In the support role, and because the real estate business is the business that we've really decided for a number of years is going to be our future. I think that's where we started depolarizing, because Kari felt so much pressure to have to hunt and kill and go forward because she was in the lead role. So is that fair?
Well, and as the kids have gotten older, it's only gotten more, our life has become more busy, more complicated. I think when they more involved, when they were younger, I could cart them around with me. I could put them down for a nap and work. Now it's like, I drop them off at school. Shortly thereafter, I pick them up and we are on the go from 3 to 9 o'clock with after school activities, with homework. I mean, it's been crazy.
Well, not only that. So we could hire people to do that. How do you feel about that?
But I don't want to hire.
There you go.
And we talked about this. Well, do we continue, with these roles, and do I hire someone? And, for me, I don't want to hire someone to raise my kids. I'm never going to get this time back with them. It is so important for me to be able to spend this time with the kids. And I don't want to give that up. If I were to hire someone to take care of them so that I can go and work more, I would not be effective at work, because I would be missing them. I would feel guilty. I would be doing something that I'm not passionate about, because I know someone's over here doing what I'm passionate about, which is being a mom. Yeah.
So as a result, we made a conscious decision towards the end of 2021 that I was going to step away from the IT business in a meaningful way. Not completely, but in a meaningful way, and that I was going to take the helm at the real estate firm.
So is that what's keeping you up?
Well, we're getting there. There was an investment component to this. We took a lot of our capital and we invested it. We've invested it in an office. We've invested it in some new ventures. We've invested it in staff. So we're back in a big way. And now I'm at the helm and I'm feeling the responsibility, the pressure to execute, right?
Yeah.
To execute. And so, what's kind of interesting is I just kind of thought of this is we should actually use this podcast as a chronicle of how this goes, because we just really got off you might not like this idea, but we just really got off the ground right now. We got the office started. Everything takes a little longer than you want to, and getting settled and getting staff. And, Carolyn is our operations manager, and she's drinking from a fire hose right now. She's fantastic, but, she's still coming up to speed on stuff.
We all are. We're all drinking from a fire hose.
And we're a little bit drinking from the fire hose, because we have the brokerage business now, and we have a new agent coming on board, and we're going to be going after new agents. There's a lot going on. And so I would love nothing more. Like I put myself, I shouldn't say I love nothing more, but what do you think about just putting
if you
ourselves
put something out there
and just saying
this is official, you guys.
We are launching right now. We are starting to execute right now. We are now starting to talk to new clients. We are now starting to really get out there, and there's just a little tiny bit of momentum picking up from the big investment, right?
Sure.
But it's a big investment, so we need more than a little tiny momentum. We need big momentum, and we're doing some really, really cool stuff that I'm really super excited about. For instance, bringing on agents and actually teaching them to be investors. Yeah. That's one of the, what just happened?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So that's one of the things that we're launching right now. We're super excited about it. And it's, going to bring a a tremendous amount of acceleration into the business. And, you know, I'd love to chronicle this. Oh, I keep saying I'd love
Chronicles
to. Maybe,
of a husband and wife.
Maybe I keep using the word. I keep using the phrase. I'd love to. Maybe I wouldn't love to. Maybe I'm putting it out there. What do you think, Miss Host of the Investor Warrior? Because this is truly warrior stuff, right?
Yeah.
You know, and I wanted to talk about warrior for a second.
It's been I would say it's been a huge shift for both of us, because for the last 10 years I've been at the helm of the ship, and for a captain,
this ship.
Yeah.
Not the whole ship.
Not the whole ship.
This ship.
But the investing ship. And
Yes.
for a captain to give over the
the whatever.
What is that thing?
The yoke.
The steering
Well, the
thing.
pilot, so it's the yoke.
What is it called on the ship?
I don't know what it is on a ship.
The stern.
It's a wheel.
Is it the stern?
It's the front thing. Yeah.
Oh God. Obviously we're not boating
Bad
people.
analogy.
Anyways, for a captain to give over his ship, let's say,
Yeah.
and to go back into more of a supportive role can be really, really tough. And there have been times where Howie was like, Kari, am I running this company now, or are you? And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right. I'm so sorry.
Stop telling Carolyn what to do.
Step back. I gotta step back because I'm so used to being in that lead role, and it has been hard to give it up. Only one, because it's been habit, and two, because honestly, it becomes like a baby of yours. It becomes like another child. Yeah, it becomes my identity.
It's your identity.
And now I'm stepping into this new role of being more of a mom and of a supporter of the business. And that can be really, really hard when you have to make that shift. And then for you, it's also been hard because now we're really like, we've got to really separate the roles that we're playing.
Right. And you've been such an intricate part. It's hard for me not to lean on you for a lot of stuff.
Sure. There have been times where if you've asked me a question, I'm like, I don't know, go look it up. Even though I probably know, I could probably figure it out, but I want you to go look it up.
I did hire you as a consultant though. Yes. So you have to fulfill your consulting role.
Yes.
So anyway, that's where we're at, right? So we're doing some
told
really,
me what
really
kept
cool,
you up at
cool
night,
stuff.
Why did you wake up? What did you write down that night that you woke up? What's keeping you up at night?
Well, I think I can't tell you what it was exactly. I mean, it was 10 days ago or something like that. But it's taking action. So this is a little bit more of, now we're getting into how I deal with stress. Okay. So, you know, I'm a where focus goes, energy, or where focus goes, energy flows student. Also, I believe in the trilogy, the manage your state trilogy. So whenever I'm feeling stressed or I'm worried or whatever, the first thing I need to do is in the trilogy. The first thing I need to do is control my physiology.
Okay.
That's hard when you wake up worrying about something in bed. Okay.
So you physically got up.
You gotta physically get up. So like you physically get up. Now during the day, I can beat my chest. I can do push-ups. I can do jumping jacks. You know, I go for my runs in the morning, all that kind of stuff. But at night, I gotta physically get up and do something. So that's controlling my physiology. The second part of it is focus, right? So focus is so key. Am I focusing on the wall or am I focusing on where I'm going? Right? Am I focusing on hitting the wall, or am I focusing on the outcome?
It's all the things that could go wrong.
All the things that could go wrong.
The what ifs.
Yeah. What if this doesn't work? What if that doesn't work? Whatever. All that kind of stuff. And so it's focus. And then the third thing is language. What's the language that you're telling yourself? Right. So language and focus get mixed up sometimes, but focus is just where what your mind is focused on. Right. Is it the worry or is it the outcome? Or the achievement or the goal. And then language is, what's the language that you're using? Like when you say, is this going to go wrong? Or what if this? Or do I have enough this? Or do we have enough money? That's all the language, right? Or I'm not smart enough. Or I'm not good enough. Or I'm not enough, right? These are all the things that us humans really struggle with. I mean, these are the big things that we struggle with. All the fear of rejection and all the fear of failure. Focus and language will line up with. And so you have to get your focus off of those. And so getting up and writing something down was the act of me first handling the physiology. Get up, take action.
Woke you up.
Something woke me up. I was worried about it. I was concerned about it.
Physically got up.
I physically got up. I physically got up, which was part of the physiology. And then I got my focus on what I wanted to focus on. So I got into problem solving mode because it was problem solving to get to the achievement, right? And then the language was the writing. Does that make sense? And the language fed the physiology. I mean, the writing fed the physiology as well because I was doing something. So I was taking action. So there's the physiology. So it kind of went in circle in the triangle, went in circle. So got up. I got focused on a better solution.
Mm-hmm.
I handled the language with the writing, which also supported the physiology. And then
Right.
I was able to get back to sleep. That's
Okay.
that's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the Chronicles.
You like the
idea.
Chronicles? All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
So right now, we'll just take a stamp. Right now, we got the brokerage stood up. We have one agent joining us next week.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a marketing system that's bringing in more leads than we know how to chase.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to solve that.
Mm-hmm.
Not a bad problem to have, but it's still a problem nonetheless. And we have a new recruiting program for agents that want to become investors and
Mm-hmm.
and this is both new and experienced agents, because I'm present to the fact there are a lot of real estate agents out there who are fantastic real estate agents that are super, super successful in their own right.
Right.
However, and there is a distinction
Mm-hmm.
between being a real estate agent, what we call the retail business,
Mm-hmm.
right? The retail business, buying and selling of homes on the retail market,
Yeah.
MLS, agent brokers, agent sellers, agent buyers, right? That whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a huge Chinese firewall between that and being an investor.
Right.
And you went many, many years
Mm-hmm.
as an investor, very successful, and you
Yeah.
didn't have your license, right? Until
Right.
some time ago. So they're two different worlds. And I'm present to the fact that there's a lot of real estate people out there
Mm-hmm.
that are fantastic. I mean, just great entrepreneurs, and they don't know the same things that we
Sure.
know about investing, right? Like
Yeah.
how they can actually take what they're doing and really monetize that in new and greater ways.
Yeah.
Just like we had it the other way around. So
Right.
we were investors
Yeah.
purely, and until we got licensing figured out, we left tons of money on the table over the years, right?
Yeah.
And we can see it now because
Right.
now we're able to monetize on both sides, right?
Yeah. Well,
And
we're
so-
able to help more people.
And we're able to
right?
help, and we're able to serve better, right?
Yeah.
We're able to be better servants. I mean, we're helping people right now in ways that we wouldn't have
wouldn't
helped
have
them in
been
the
able to.
past.
Mhm.
And so it goes both ways.
Yes.
It goes totally both ways. So now that we have experience from the both sides and we got that model down,
Yes.
now what we're doing is inviting agents who want to come on board and they want to learn that other side.
Right.
And so we have a whole program around that, education program, also a support system around it.
Mhm.
This is probably the thing that I'm the most excited about, is that part of it, as well as we're doing commercial real estate now and all that kind of stuff. So,
Mhm.
those are the things that I can say, that's the stamp. That's where we're at right now. And I can chronicle this over the course of the rest of the year to see if we're still standing and thriving.
I had to pull up this quote before we leave because we were talking about how we want it all.
And we wanted that.
And I'm a better singer.
I
Let me
know,
do the
you are a
singing.
better singer.
That was a little off.
It was pitchy.
This is I'm actually in the process of memorizing this quote. I put it on my journal that I'm supposed to
I
be
know,
writing
you
in
like
every
love
night.
this quote.
I do love this quote. And actually, Greg loves this quote. Our mentor has this quote a lot. And the last time I spoke at his Power Player event, I referenced this quote. But I love this quote because I can so relate to it. And I also think that so many people listening to us who either want to get into business or who are in business can also relate to it. And here's the quote. It's, "Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius, because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do." That's one of my favorite.
You're going to give him credit?
I never know how to pronounce his last name.
Jack Kerouac.
Kerouac.
Yeah.
I always say it. For some reason, I struggle with his last name. Jack Kerouac.
It's because you're from Rhode Island.
Is that what it is? Should put my Rhode Island accent. Kerouac. No, that's not a Rhode Island
That's your
accent.
Texas accent.
What was that? I have been gone from Rhode Island for so long. I can't even think about how to do a Rhode Island accent. Anyways, on that note, actually that was my second. I'll have to pull up the first quote. That's my second favorite quote of his. That's the wrong one. That's my second favorite quote. But it's about doing extraordinary things. It's about living an extraordinary life. And the only way you can live an extraordinary life is to push yourself to have everything that you want,
Mhm.
to give as much as you can give.
Mhm.
It's to serve as much as possible. It's just to be extraordinary. And that does come with risk.
Yeah.
And that comes with change. And we're going through a lot of change right now. And that comes, I don't know. I'm going to end with that.
Well, okay. I think it's beautiful.
Next time you're
I think
going to
it's beautiful.
hear
I think it's
my
beautiful.
first favorite quote by Jack
Kerouac.
I'm trying to say it in a Rhode Island accent.
I don't think you can.
I'll have to get my Rhode Island friends to do it. All right, guys. That's it for today. We'll see you on the next episode. And remember, you are only, I love that quote. That's a great quote. And thank you. It is the stern of the boat. It's the stern.
What is
Thank
the
you.
stern?
We had a comment from, I don't want to say your name
Oh,
incorrectly.
take the stern?
But yeah, it is the stern.
So the
That's
wheel
right.
is the stern?
I guess so.
Huh.
We got to get a boat.
We're gonna stick with airplanes. We know airplanes.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yoke, the yoke.
Yeah, the yoke. Okay. All right, you guys. We'll see you on the next episode. And remember, you are only one deal away. Take care.